You've been lied to. Learning a new language isn't about textbooks, flashcards, or those apps that make you feel guilty for missing a day. No, your brain is wired to absorb languages effortlessly if you know the secret. Picture this. You wake up in a tiny Parisian apartment. The smell of fresh croissants drifts through the window. You step outside, and suddenly the streets are alive. Shopkeepers chatter, music spills from cafes, and a stranger asks you for directions in French. And just like that, your brain clicks. Sounds impossible? Well, science says otherwise. Your mind is a sponge, and immersion is the ultimate soak. Studies show that when you're surrounded by a new language, your brain stops translating and starts thinking like a native. It's like hacking the Matrix, except instead of dodging bullets, you're ordering un café noir like a pro. Still skeptical? Meet Emma. She struggled with Spanish for years. Then, she moved to Barcelona. 3 months later, fluent. How? Because survival mode forces your brain to adapt. You don't just learn a language, you start living it. And the best part? You don't need a plane ticket. The trick to unlocking this superpower is something you can do today. Keep watching, and you'll see why fluency isn't about studying harder, it's about experiencing smarter. Join me as I challenge myself to learn a new language while exploring amazing places around the world. When we think about traveling to new places, we often focus on the sights, the food, and the cultural experiences. But there's one crucial element that can make or break our travel adventures: language skills. Being able to communicate with locals, read signs, and understand the nuances of a culture can entirely change the way we experience a new place. Have you ever felt overwhelmed or intimidated by the idea of learning a new language before traveling? You're not alone. Many of us have been there, wondering where to start, how to fit it into our busy schedules, or simply feeling like we're not cut out for learning a new language. It's easy to get caught up in the mindset that we need to be fluent before we can even think about traveling to a foreign country. I've been there too, and I know how discouraging it can feel. We often worry that we won't be able to learn a language quickly enough, or that we'll get stuck in a rut, unable to progress beyond the basics. We might feel like we're too old, too rusty, or too busy to take on the challenge of learning a new language. And let's be honest, it can be tough to stay motivated when we're not seeing immediate results. But here's the thing: language learning doesn't have to be daunting. With the right mindset, resources, and approach, anyone can learn a new language. Whether you're a complete beginner or looking to improve your language skills, it's totally possible to make progress and start communicating with locals in no time. So, where do you start? For me, language learning apps like Duolingo have been a lifesaver. I love that I can squeeze in a quick lesson during my daily commute or while waiting in line. Online courses are another great option, offering flexibility and structure. And of course, there's no substitute for immersive experiences like language exchange programs or homestays, which can fast-track your learning like nothing else. I've also found that setting achievable goals and tracking progress can make all the difference. Whether it's mastering a certain number of words, having a 10-minute conversation with a native speaker, or simply being able to read signs and menus, having a clear target in mind can keep you motivated and engaged. For instance, I remember a friend who decided to learn Japanese before traveling to Tokyo. She started with the basics, focusing on food vocabulary and common phrases. By the time she arrived in Japan, she was able to order food at a restaurant, ask for directions, and even have a basic conversation with her host family. It was amazing to see how empowered she felt, being able to connect with locals and appreciate the subtleties of the culture. My own experience has been similar. When I learned some basic Spanish phrases before traveling to Barcelona, it completely transformed my experience. I was able to explore the city without fear of getting lost, ask for recommendations from locals, and even have a few laughs with my Airbnb host. It was incredible to feel like I was a part of the community rather than just a tourist passing through. In summary, learning a new language can seem daunting, but it's worth the effort. By choosing the right resources, setting achievable goals, and staying motivated, you can acquire the language skills you need to take your travel adventures to the next level. Thanks for joining me on this journey. If you have a language learning experience you'd love to share, please leave it in the comments below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more travel-related content and language learning tips.